we should be starting with Don't Start Part 3.
Yeah, that just dropped.
That just dropped. Now, obviously you've been out here, so you dropped it. How's the feedback been? I know the people been waiting on that crazy. Talk about that a little bit.
People been waiting for Don't Start 3 for a couple of years now. I think Don't Start 2 dropped like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. So they've been waiting like 3 years for that record, for Part 3.
And is that, I mean, what made you want to turn that into, was it the response on obviously the first drop that made you want to turn it into
Definitely. Because the first drop was more like a statement, and then the second drop was like, feel me, letting them know.
Yeah.
So once I seen like everybody was like fucking with 1 and 2, I was like, alright, whenever I want to talk my shit, feel me, I'm gonna just add the next part on. I feel like it was the time for that.
And I think obviously if they go and tap in and they go watch 1 to 3 now, that'll break down what it's about. You know, it's clear. You're talking your shit, like, you know what I mean. But for the people that might not be familiar, like, where Part 1, where did the inspiration for that, like, how did that all come about, man?
Don't Start Part 1. It was just on some like, you know, it's a lot going on in New York. So it's a lot of side picking and choosing, and I don't really pick sides. Like, I just do my own thing. Yeah. So that's what really inspired Part 1. It was just like a statement letting niggas know, like, feel me? You don't fuck with me and what I got going on. I ain't gonna fuck with you and what you got going on. Right, so that's really how it started.
Yeah, and obviously I see the response to Part 1, and it was inevitable you was gonna do the Part 2 and the Part 3.
Yeah, and then Part 2 started going crazy. Part 2 was way better than Part 1, in my opinion.
Right.
So, word.
And that was the Part 2 dropped, like, 2 years ago, you said?
Yeah, like 2-3 years ago.
Okay, and then obviously, like we said, Part 3 just came out. You was in London while that dropped. What's it like being overseas? And obviously, like, people are waiting on that, like, so what you want to call it, a series, I guess, you know what I mean? Its own series within. But a lot of your fans are waiting on that one, and I know it must feel kind of sick to be overseas and dropping something and then getting the love back from stateside as well, you know what I mean?
Because I had to stay up till 5 in the morning.
I saw the premiere was fun. Yeah.
I had to stay up till 5 in the morning so I could make sure I drop it at midnight for everybody in the States.
Yeah, and then you obviously want to be live to just see, like, what the people them are saying.
I'm feeling the energy, though. It was a lot of good feedback. It's like, feel me? Some people gonna pick one over the other. Like, a lot of people pick 1 over 2, but majority of my fans like really pick 2 over 1.
Right.
So like 3 right now, they filling it out. Feel me?
Yeah, it's bubbling.
The energy from 2 is different. I ain't gonna lie. 2 is personally my favorite, but 3 I was still talking shit. So it's like 1, 2, and 3. Like, no matter what order you put it in, all 3 of them shits is still like smashing.
And I think like when people like, I want to say come out the gate, but when they drop something of that magnitude, like Part 1, and it's like looking at even the visual aspect of it, that's on some, I mean, all of them are on some street shit, obviously, but that one's like really on some early street
Part
shit.
1?
Yeah, Part 1. So like, what are those times like in terms of like the journey and like the transition in terms of like maybe how you've upped the levels, like visually, how the games like maybe moved in those years as well,
so, like,
bro?
So you want me to explain like the videos?
Yeah, talk about it.
So like Part 1 was just on some, Part 1 was actually an accident.
Right.
I was supposed to shoot a video to another song.
Okay.
But I didn't get the location that I was supposed to get, so we were just outside. That was one of the summers where, like, we just had the whole hood outside, like, every single day.
Yeah.
Where, like, we were just partying every day. So that's how I ended up shooting Part 1. It was mostly just the bros. So for me, like, I feel like it matched the setting of the song. Part 2 was on some, like, we lit now.
Yeah, the bikes. Yeah, the bikes out.
Yeah,
on
Part 2 was lit now. We got money, so now we all over New York with it. That was really the meaning of Part 2 for me. Like, Part 2 just showed, like, Part 1 was like, I was trying to capture the city, and then Part 2 showed, like, all right, I got the city now. Cause I went from Brooklyn, I went to Queens, I went to the Bronx. I mean, I was going all over New York. We was on a bridge. And shit. So, yeah, we was doing everything. And then Part 3, I was on some, like, I was like, all right, they already know I leveled up. They already know I got money. I wanted to take it back to the old scenery, like how we was back in the days, like show like, we still in our area, this still was going on, like still comfortable, still fly, still got my chains on, for me. So that's just how everything went for real.
You think we're gonna get more of that series, or is it one that depends on how
right now I'm chilling. It depends on what's going on.
Yeah.
It depends on what's going on. I feel like Part 3 might be the last one though.
Okay.
Right, but it depends.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, you never know.